Oh, I'm back again doing this cool stuff that only cool peeps do. Oh, what time is it? It's 9:13. Everybody in the world. It's 9:13 for everyone. If it's not 9:13 wherever you're at, that's just a lie. It's 9:13 there. Maybe 9:14 now. You're just confused. Which means that it's a nice restful time of the day. Got a sandwich here that I can eat later, which will be fun and exciting for everyone, I'm sure. I'm trying to remember what I was doing last with this thing. So we played Soma the other day. I think yesterday. I didn't stream yesterday. We played Stardew Valley with Aelbeck. But he's got to wake up early tomorrow, so he probably will not be on. Most likely. 90% chance that he won't be on here. If he does show up to me, we'll play something else. If not, I will play some Soma after a little bit, 10-ish maybe, 11-ish. Yeah. What was it? Okay, I think, yes, what I was doing, this is some extra stuff I'd done a little bit of. So trying to figure out some stuff. Let's zoom my codes in a little bit so it's a bit easier for everyone to read if they want to. It's not super interesting. So yeah, I was starting to say, like, I wanted to have, right now I just have the path to where the game files are. It's like hard coded in my software but it's like that's very specific to me, like where I installed Steam, and then on top of that where I told Steam to install the game, which is not necessarily the default, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure, I mean, there's probably people that have theirs installed just like mine. But yeah, so I was doing a little bit of stuff. I don't know why I was kind of messing with this on my Mac earlier a little bit, but just mostly to see if I can get some stuff working. But it's not like we'll be using it on there anyways. Nope. So I was like, okay, let's look and see. I think I wrote this, yeah, so I could get the Steam path. What I want to do, I know there's a function in Qt, convert to system separator. I think it's in here. Yeah, from native separators. And I bet you there's 2 native separators here. Perfect. Static. Perfect. Okay, so what I can do, we already have Qdir in here, so we'll say Qdir, 2 native separators, just like that, and then we'll feed in the other directory. Or we may as well feed in the Steam directory there. And so what I should get now, if I run this, is that should look nice, I think. Yeah, see Steam apps common, Dishonored 2. That's where mine is at. Your Steam might be installed elsewhere, but I wanted to also add a little bit more intelligence to this. Because if we know what the Steam directory is, we can actually process the file within. So there's files within Steam. In fact, let me go in here, and in the header, I'm gonna do some defines. What I want to do is I want to define the app ID for a few things. So what have I got here? Let's do common, Dishonored 2. Do they have a PDF file in here? No. But we can look at these. One of these app manifests is going to be. Do I have it open already? Oh yeah, look there. I have it open already. The ACF file. So we know the app ID is 40364. So you can say define this to app ID. And we're just going to make it a uString template there. 40364. So I think I copied it. I did not. 403-640, 403-640, which is nice, simple ID for the app. What I want to do is process the Steam files. So I think what I want, because it's not very, so what I want to do, so I have like, internal to Steam. So the way Steam keeps track of everything is when you install something or when you download something or you change a setting. There's a few other places that some stuff is stored, but for like where the games live, there is this config folder which will always be here. The Steam apps folder is not guaranteed. I don't think I've ever seen an installation where it's not there, but this is the guarantee. Like this config folder will always be here, and this library folders will be here. And this just tells you there should be a Steam apps folder in this folder. And for me, I have a secondary one on the slow hard drive, which we can verify. If I go the data drive, and then we go to Steam library, and there's a Steam apps folder. So we have two. And then games can be installed in any, and you can look here. So I can say, oh, okay. So I can build this list, and I could read here, and it's just the, I don't know what these are. They're not timestamps or anything. Maybe it's like depots, no. So what is it for? This one is our Dishonored 2. Last updated, it's size on disk. Oh, it's the size on disk. Yep, it's just the size. So this is just so they can very quickly, like without having to go through and be like, find this file and get the more detailed information about the game. They can give you those lists that just say like, you have Dishonored 2 installed at this location. It takes up this much space. Pew, pew, pew. And that's for all games. So this is all just the other games I have installed right now. Ooh, look, update corruption. This is probably, it's probably just getting updated every time I mess with the Dishonored files and tell it that they're broken. So maybe I might be skewing some data collection at Valve. Unlikely. I'm just one person, but I'm doing it so frequently that they might be like, oh, something's wrong with someone's Steam installation is buggy or something, or some game is buggy because it keeps breaking its files. But it's not a big deal. At worst, they might think that I'm trying to do something malicious. I don't think. I'm not trying to just like give files out to anybody or anything. I'm just giving tools so they can mess with the files that they already got. But no, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll look at this thing, and I want to just parse it. But it's very, very simple, and every one of them seems to be the same. Steam actually has documentation. Steamworks. I want to see, do they have any information on like their action manifest files? There's an overview. You could have an action manifest, a configuration list. This is for controller configuration. I want to know about this file. Does it say Teamwork, special configurations, depots, special configurations. In-game, which holds the next section. Developers must apply an IGA file that finds action stuff in their input configuration. Your user ID, blah blah, remote control configurable. Structures file. It's a standard val format called key values. Okay, so I think probably then everything is a key value store. I just want to check. No, not that. So there's like a C sharp. Well, this is 100%. Yeah, reading it. This slide before the command files varies. Oh god. Pretty cool. We're just gonna assume that it's consistent enough that we can find this, because to be honest, I wrote a parser for this file in Python, I don't know, 8 years ago probably, because I was trying to do something. I wanted to make like some kind of tool. Oh, I was writing, I wonder if I still have that. If I look at my profile, let's look at my repositories. I have like a list of coins, AutoQT, where to live, Arch Big Day, archives. I think I probably source tools. Yeah. What's this? Oh yeah, that's just extra stuff. Val format. So I'd written a little parser for it. Interesting. Yeah, I did add the support so I could add stuff to it. Oh, and then I was parsing the lines. Line is entering a branch. Previous line was branch name. Okay, I was doing very much line-based kind of parsing for this. Which assumes that the lines are always going to be significant, but I don't think that's true. I don't like to make that assumption anymore. I guess it was called gameinfo.txt. I wonder, I was messing with like Portal 2 and Half-Life 2 and stuff. So I wonder if that is the case anymore. But yeah, so I'm assuming that, yeah. So we're just kind of doing stuff. So there does seem to be quote support. But we can also look a little bit at this guy's. This person. Who do you think this is? Steam database. Oh yeah. This person is stiff. Valve key value. So this a rule set. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of. I don't dislike C#. I'm just not a big fan of it. So embedding the object. This guy's your root, but I wonder. Reflector. It's not a big deal. Serialization format. Oh yeah, no, nothing good. There's a like a thing that I don't really care for C# is And it's the same reason I'm not a big fan of Java. There's a lot of over infatuation with a kind of object-oriented format. And C# gets away from it a little bit with some more kind of functional stuff, which is nice, but not enough for my tastes. And the fact that most projects I'll spend looking like, okay, what's a token? I see, okay, so we got token type. Oh, great. So it's just these like too many of this classes. Like this is just a token, and so we have a getter and setter on it. This is just what would be a struct, right? Effectively, unless there's somewhere else or there's some more implementation details. But it's because just of the way people do things in C#, right? It's like, oh, it's just gotta be this. So and some of this stuff is really nice for testing. Testing these layers of abstraction and stuff where you can pass in format provider, and then you get the Boolean out, and so you can kind of do things with that probably. But I'm not a great fan of it. Deserialization. It's visiting reader. The implementation for the it just says read object. So maybe that is assuming that well, you know what I need to do? I'm doing it do this backwards. I need to look here, and I need to just look at what the core thing is. Oh, this is just a library. Is it a tool? No, it doesn't have like a tool interface, which is annoying. I like when a library that someone makes will have, even if it's just an example tool interface, it's just like, here's a super basic console application, which might be what this is. Program. Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted with that. So, which made me think it didn't have it. I think I had seen that .console a second ago, and then I just wasn't looking for it. So yeah, so what are you gonna do here? We're going to path to key values if the file exists. Open read. New key value has escape sequences. Serializer, create the serializer, and then you deserialize it. Stream and options. Which one of these do you think it is? Because these are all the same. And so then it opens up a memory stream, and then it does the serialize. Serializer is a KV serializer, so we want to go to the KV serializer definition and look at that. Because what are these? Are these all? This one's using the serializer. This is assuming you're going to deserialize from a file path, I bet. Same with this one. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, it assumes. Oh no. This is you've got the contents of one of these files in a string already, and then you're just passing it in, and so it's just getting you this nice little queue buffer or a byte array, or no, in Python there's an IO stream stuff that you can do. Same kind of stuff. You're basically making a virtual file wrapped around some data that's already loaded into memory in your program. So you get the nice little read segments there. So what instead I want to do, so I want to look at, just deserialize it, and you're going to do all your stuff. So what I want to know is, do we have, okay, oh wait, with this maybe? Are you going to tell me GitHub? GitHub this is like not that new of a feature, but it's not that great yet. It's like, it pretends that it would work. So I want this as KV serializer. So let's go in here and look for KV serializer. And this should have a deserialize from with a stream, perfect, and then the options. So it assumes the stream has stuff, and then it creates this builder, and then it makes a reader, and then it reads the objects into the builder, I guess, and the builder returns the root object. So it's assuming there's only one object at the root, just from how this looks like it's working. Because I'm assuming this is going to return, yeah, look, we're going to return a key value object from those DC, like all these, well, a T object deserialized to stream. Okay, hair tie, my wrist is starting to cut circulation off. I'm too fat of a wrists. Okay, so oh, I don't like you're looking at this. But it's assuming, okay, so it's just assuming that there's some of this stuff. So what I want to see, right, is somewhere where we've got some defines or something, or well, the equivalent to defines, whatever they are in C#. Some kind of, this is an escape sequence, this is a comment sequence, you know, this is a comment indicator, however you like. So what is this doing? So when we do this, we do the reader, we read the object, and this is updating builder surely. So can we see this? Visiting reader, this is the implementation. We want to see this. Huh? Or no, sorry, that's the interface. I'm dumb. What was that? This one is the what is this reader? Make reader. Where is your make reader method? Visiting reader. Either one, I would imagine. They both have to implement the same thing. But kind of I prefer to look at the binary reader. Let's go here, and then we want to do the read object here, I think. Yep. Detect magic header. What is that? Very good. So I've not seen. Oh, maybe there's a different format. So this might be supporting more, like maybe there's a binary encoding. So this text serializer. Yeah, it must be. Okay, so then blah, blah, blah. And this one needs to define that same. We don't want the right stuff. Or wait, did we get the wrong? Did we go to the wrong place? Make serializer. Make reader. Yep, I did. Text reader. Text reader, please. God, sometimes I don't get why it does that. You can find the other things. Sure that you can find KV text reader. Maybe it was in. Nope. In here. Visiting reader. Yeah, we know about that one. Alright, here we are. Text reader. Oh, text reader. So, read object. It's looking for a token. Okay, they're going to basically do, yeah, and this read next token is probably going to go through, look for a quote, look for the end of quote, take the stuff in between the quotes, push it into the token. And then, yeah, you just throw if you get industry. Yeah, if you break. You know, we'll look for the token type. Interesting. Object start, object end. Okay, yeah, so the token could be a string, an object start, an object end. I wonder, so the read token is probably going to be the bit that, yep, swallows white space. Grab the next chart, is into file. Condition began, comment began. Okay, so this one should be, yep, okay. Condition, I wonder what these are. I don't see them in the stuff that I'm going to parse, so I'm just going to ignore them for now. And then we'll just do, yeah, so whatever the, oh, I guess you can, so you can include stuff, and then there's some kind of conditional stuff you can do. Whatever, it's not important. We really just need to, I'm just trying to verify that there. I think you would handle the escape sequences here as well, but maybe you don't consider. So if we look at this, if I was looking at this, I would assume that what this is, right, this slash is escaping this next one. You have C:/Steam, right? These are just, this is an escape character, and so you could potentially, because what's also included here, like the game names. Do I have a game that has like a quote in the name? Some with TM. That's not really that special of a character. It's just Unicode. I mean, unless Steam just doesn't let you put a double quote in the name of your game, which I wouldn't blame them. Can I just search for double quote? Yeah, no. What about single quote? Oh yeah, there's some with single quotes. We can install one of these. Some of these are super small. Let's do Chips Challenge 1. Yep, we'll just put it there. Let it do its thing. Because I would assume single quotes might not need to be escaped, but could be. Interesting that these haven't updated. But what I'll do is I'll look in this folder, and we'll look here in the Steam apps, and then let's go by date modified, and then look at this guy, Chips Challenge. That's not escaped. I wish I had a game that had. I mean, what happens if I do that? And then we just, I don't know, I wonder if this, I assume that's not, I assume that Steam is doing other stuff to like figure that out. But if I exit and relaunch Steam, you might see, it might just update that file. Yeah, it's not really been concerned with that at all, which is lame. Very lame. What if I add a game, say add a non-Steam game, add a non-Steam game. Let's just do something very simple. We'll do 7-zip. But I want to rename it. To the Cool Guy Edition. And we'll have the target have a quote in there. Maybe? I don't know. We'll mess with them. I'll do that. Bam. Okay, and then so if I say play, it opens 7-zip. But I wonder where those go. Somewhere in here. If I go grab a new shell real quick, we go C Steam 7-zip. Yeah, okay, so let's go escape. Look, that's in a VDF. Screenshots. Who knows what that means? Why that's in there. But you can see that those are escaped. User data 38 whatever. Oh god. 760. Screenshots.vdf. Yeah, you see that. So that does. So they have escape sequences. Support for escape, which is good. So that's fine. And so let's undo any changes we make to this. Close it. Close this. And we can delete. Remove non-Steam game from library. I don't need that being there. Okay, so parsing this is pretty simple. We're just gonna read a token and then, check what it is. So we'll say, this is actually gonna be very similar. Take this away, we don't need this here. What this is actually gonna be very similar to is my decal files parser. And for now, we can just say void. Parse. And I think what I have here is just a parse as well. And we're going to take a const array data, and we're not going to return anything yet. We're just going to parse it into a map, which really is, we can just return as well. But I probably want to return a string for an error message and accept a map as the output parameter. That's probably fine. I guess that Q string includes occupied array. So let's see. So let's go here. Actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and set this up like we want. So we'll say Q map. What actually you'll do, I'm going to make a alias here. I'm going to say using, what do I want to call it? KV. We'll just call it KV map. I mean, it's just a Q string map. I think there's actually even a alias already in QMap for like a Q, because there's like Q string list. Is there like just Q string map? You've just seen it here. It's like a related non-member, I think. No, I want to just have I want to not have to type the angle brackets all the time. That's fine. Sometimes they'll have like an option here that's nice and like, oh, you could also just use this. So it's the same thing, but it saves you typing some junk. Nope. We'll use a alias just because we're lazy. So we'll say using KB map, Q map, Q string, or no, we want a Q variant map. Oh yeah, what am I saying? It's a Q variant map because it can have maps internal. So we'll say Q variant map. we want to call that? Let's call it output. We want it to be a reference as well, so we can edit it. Yeah, and then we'll just have a big QVariant map. That's what we'll do here. And so what we're going to do is very similar to what we do here. We're going to say, yeah, we'll have a byte array token. I don't think there's ever, we're going to assume that there's never more than, like, once we read a token, we don't need the next one. We don't need to store a stack of tokens. But we will say QVariant map is equal to the current, not a stack, it's just going to be current scope. And then we're going to go, yep, some basic stuff like we want to see bool in escape is false, bool in token is false. We might even need in token, because I'll have to escape anything that's used by the format if you want a square bracket, curly bracket or something. So that will be handled by the escape. Yeah, that's probably fine. We probably do want that because we can toggle it on when we open the string. You get the double quote and then we'll toggle it off. And that will tell us that we need to shove that token in, because we're not really going to, I'm not going to do the same thing as that. I'm not going to pass around the curly braces and stuff. So what we're going to say is then for the same thing here. What is that doing for I equals a 9? Oh, because we start. Yeah, so no, I was going to say. What are the index parameter to data? I just want to make sure we're using the same one. Oh, don't lock the screen. What did that do? Q byte array. We're gonna want to see, I just want to make sure that when I use the index operator, it's using Q size type. It's fine, we can do that too. Q size type I is equal to 0. It's less than data dot size. I plus I. Easy as that. Oops, not like that. And so then we say, then we just say our const auto C is equal to the next character. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And so I'm going to do a similar thing. Very, very, very similar. If we are in an escape sequence, then we just send the token, the new character. And we say we're out of there, and then we just continue the loop. Because whatever was in there, we do not want to do anything else with it. Otherwise, if C is equal to our escape character, which is going to be that, /, we're not ever going to write these, so I'm not going to care about any of that. With a comma? Oh. What are we doing here? We're going to say we're going to take... What was I doing? Oh, yeah, we're going to start the escape sequence. I'm not going to append the escape starter in here. I'm just going to toggle us into an escape. And then continue. So just run through there. Thank you. That's what I figured you said, even without the qualifier. I knew I was perfect. Yep, and so that'll handle our little escape starting and stopping. And then we'll do a very, very similar thing where we're just in token. Or if we are starting a new token, or I don't think, yeah, no, so that's my single quote handling. I don't think I need single quote handling. This format is actually, this is simpler than the like id text declaration file format or whatever. And there probably is like a library I could use. I could link with like the Steam thing and tell it to read it, but I want to make no assumptions. Like I want if someone's using this, like they could use it wherever. And since I already have basically everything here, it's not a big deal. So we'll say, yep, if we are in the token or we are switching to toggle into the token. I'm not going to keep the quote. So, realistically, I just need the special handling for the escape. And so everything else here, so I only have the special token handling split out from my big switch that handles like any other characters we might come across to do a thing, because we're not like with that other file format. I was having to handle like a token could be ended by a space or a tab or a new line or an equals or lots of things, right? Because you could really trim it down. And because everything wasn't guaranteed to be a string, right? I had to kind of handle that. But here, everything is a string or it's a control character, like, or it's white space. So really, I just need to do that special early, like, oh, is this an escape character? Then we need to escape it. If we're not currently escaping anything, and it's an escape character, we need to just switch into escape and pass this through. So we just don't need to handle anything else. But so realistically, I should just be able to write this all as one switch statement, and then we'll just say, oh, well, no, because I want to handle white space different. I want to capture white space while we're inside of a token. Because you have spaces in like the name of a file path, or in a file path or something. So maybe I do need to kind of bypass some stuff, but I think it can be much simpler. So we'll just say, and just take this warning to go away. I'm going to just return an empty string all the time. We'll say if we are in a token, well, then we can say if we're in a token. No, what I want to say is just if we're in a token, yeah, I think this is right. Or if our character is the token or indicator, then we need to do our work. Though we would have got, I think I want to just handle this. So if we're in a token and we're not going to exit the token, then we can do an early escape, because we just need to handle escape characters. Anything else? Well, no, because if we're yes, that's correct. So they don't need to escape. I think I saw somewhere where they had like all kinds of junk, and they weren't escaping it. Like I think it's like in this config where like there was like some kind of web thing. Yeah, look here. So they're only escaping the double quotes in there, but they have all these other ones. So yes, I do need to handle that separately, just similar to the escape. So if we're in the token, we already handled like escaping effectively, mostly just the token separator, or the escape character itself, right? There's only like two things you need to escape, I guess. If we're in the token, and it's not the end of the token, then we will just say token dot. So that is Valve's key value format. So it is where like, and you're not wrong about it being kind of nasty. It's like, it's so that part is extra nasty. So I don't know what they're like embedding this big JSON blob for. I mean, well, what does it say? Download store recently completed. Who knows? Just something they shoved into there. But this format that it's wrapped in is very much like a subset of JSON. I don't know when it might. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it preceded JSON a little bit. Look at the Wikipedia article for JSON because I'm kind of curious now. When 1990, blah blah blah. I want to see when it first appeared. Usually they get, oh look, the early 2000s. So yes, it came before, I think, because this was released. Oh no, it was released in 2003. So, but I think it's been there since the beginning. But it's just their format for their config files for lots of stuff. It is very much like a subset of JSON. Like it doesn't have any special types or anything internally. Like it's just a key that's a string, and then you can have nested dictionaries, nested objects, right? And then each of them has a key, and the values are all strings. Yeah, you have to write them if you want to. You don't. You can, like Valve's interface for like uploading a game to Steam. You can kind of just do everything through that. But there are some things where you might need to customize, do stuff, and so you'll see some games will include them. If you want cloud saves support for your game, usually the easiest way is to just add. Like I could probably pull one up really fast. The Valheim uses them. So I can say like Valheim, if I look at their files, they usually have they have that Steam app ID file. And usually, okay, that's just the app ID. I thought they had somewhere where they were saying usually you'll have some file that Steam will look for in your directory. Not really. I just kind of parsing these dinky files. Just so I can dynamically figure out where your Dishonored install is. It's not super important. It's because I've got a thing that I'm trying to kind of figure out. So I'm letting it kind of stew in my brain. So I'm doing this while I'm thinking about that. Yeah, it's just kind of a very, very basic format. So we'll say, yep, so if we're in the token and it's not the token escape, we're not ending the token, then we just append it and continue. We don't care about what it is. We don't need to handle it. Else, if we are the token file, then we want to do token or in token is equal to not in token and continue. So we'll just switch modes. And so that we know the next thing we're reading is token. And so what do I want to do? I want to say, I'll leave that. So yeah, so that'll handle if we run across an escape sequence, the next character, we'll just always add that to whatever our current token is. If we're inside of a token, and then we're not getting the toggle, then we will, go and add that whatever character it is to our thing. Otherwise, if we see that thing, I can just flip that logic. Actually, I think I'll like that better, because basically we always want to handle this one. So we'll say else if we're in token. Then we do this. If we see this character, then we do that. So that's a little bit simpler. So basically, if we see the start of a token or end of a token character, we just flip our mode and then continue because we're not want to capture that one. If we are in okay, there might be something I need to handle there. So we'll say that, and then we'll say, if we are in yeah, and if we're in the token, we just grab the character. We capture whatever it is, because the escape would have handled other stuff. And then we'll handle the actual scope stuff, which is we just need to ignore all white space basically. So I can actually just grab this because I'm pretty sure I'm just skip. We don't care about this one though. We just want to skip white space of any kind, which is good. And then what I want to do, I think I might need my token stack actually. Because once I exit the token, which would be here, or I hit what would be the only other thing you could see, which would be the opening of a scope, then I know I need to capture. So I think that's what I'll do. So yeah, I will keep a list of tokens. And so whenever we end the token, if in token, and we know we're gonna, so we're about to switch out of it, then we'll go ahead and say tokens.append current token. Oops, I don't know why it does that. Something's changed with the autocomplete. It's kind of lame. Clear the current one, and so we can start building the next one. And so that will be once we in the token. And so there's actually a bigger state change that can happen here too, which can be if we catch two, if we have two tokens in our list, then I can actually insert them into the dictionary, whatever our current scope is. Because then once I hit the output, yes, that's right. That's what I want to do. Yeah. So then, which is kind of what I'm doing a little bit differently there. So we'll say because one thing is what I kind of did in this other thing because you have these nested scopes. I have no idea how deep they'll get. If I'm reading the file across and I read this, I start my token, these will all get captured into the token, and then I'll push that onto the stack. So we'll have the library folders, and then we'll start reading. We'll get some white space, we'll ignore it, and then we'll hit this. We want to, this will be a control character to say, okay, we have a new scope. So I probably want to have my stack as well, because I won't know that I'm going to exit, because this also gives me a kind of error correction. So if I hit the end of the file, or some other thing and I see that, oh, I've got like stack left over, like there wasn't all of these things weren't matched, right? There wasn't these weren't all paired, or I didn't have, you know, a key value, right? Something went wrong. Then, you know, we'll just kind of deal with that. So yeah, so I think what I'll do is, yeah, I'll just kind of do it the same way, because that's it's just a way to handle that kind of stuff. So I'll say another queue list here. That's going to be queue variant map, and that's our stack there. And so what we'll say is, once we get the tokens, and so what'll happen there is our token list gets built up. So once you read this one, we'll say, okay, so we've got this. So then we create a new scope, push it onto the end of our stack, and then we read this one, and we get a new token. So we've got another token added on. So we library folders and then 0 in the tokens list. And then you get this, push anything on the stack. This token's already been pushed. So then you have a new stack, and then you'll have path. And so we'll get a new token, and then we'll read a second token. And so once we've read that, then we're like, okay, well, we can take these two, shove them back. So I do kind of need maybe a little switch there, which, how are they doing it over here in C#? No, this is my old thing. This one. So if it's an object start, if it's an object end, interesting. So okay, that's our token stuff. And then we were saying, where was this? It was dispose, read string, read comment, read condition, read inclusion, read next peak, whatever these things are. Read until white space or quote, swallow, read quoted string. Is there somewhere else that this is getting used? I think so. Yeah. Okay, yeah, up here it was. So yeah, so they get the token. So they're reading whatever the token is. And then if it's a string, then they read the value of the string. If it's an object, then they begin the new object. What does that do? They do some stuff. They put, yeah, they're just doing the same thing that I'm basically going to do. It's just a bit more compartmentalized. So yeah, so they just basically have a stack of things they're pushing on. What do they do with this token though? Well, okay, so when they're thinking of tokens, their tokens also include all of those control characters. So for them, they've read a token, and it's either like a value or a key, or an open squirrely brace or a closed squirrely brace or a comment or something. Whereas me, I'm like, okay, no, I just want to handle those right away. Like, I don't want to pass those around and have them stored up. Okay, so this other format was a little bit easier because they always ended with a semicolon. So you see I have special handling in the semicolon to grab stuff out of the stack, and then there was a difference here where this had, this other format could have multiple tokens. So it'd have like something, and then a space or two, and like in quotes potentially, and you'd have 2 or 3 things lined up, and then you'd have an equals in the value. And so I had to handle that, which was annoying. I didn't like that. Like, I didn't realize it for a long. I didn't see it until my thing broke on a file that I was reading. It couldn't read it. It couldn't handle too many tokens. I didn't expect it. But it's very limited in scope what we're doing here for now. So I'm not going to care too much. So yeah, I think I can handle all of that stuff. So we'll just do all the token stuff. And then I was doing, okay, yeah, so it's like, okay, if my token is empty and I've got whatever, like, and one of the token separators is in my, like, my character is one of the token separators, then go ahead and append the token to my list of tokens, clear out the current little token cache, and then start reading again. What do I want to think about there, though? So I want to say, I just kind of need an indicator. So I need to say, it's really like a little state machine, but it's like 2 states. So I'm not really gonna try and like capture with like an enum for all the states it can be in. Because we just know, like, yeah, for in an escape, that's super easy and quick and simple. If we're in a token, that's pretty easy to capture the tokens. But then in between, I need some kind of indicator to know that I'm waiting. Like, I have a key, which is what I call it. Have key. It's false. And so once I've got that, so we'll say, yep, once we've got this, we'll do our little thing. So we'll say, I might want to put this down just for clarity's sake down in my switch statement, because I can say if I see the double quote, which ends our token, and I have a key because I inserted it, right? We're on a key, we're looking for a value or a new scope, then we can do that, because it'll be special handling for closing a scope, which will push it off the stack into the output or into the next thing in the stack or into the output, depending on the size of the stack. So, and then now it should be the end, right? So you should end up with that variant map that we're getting as input is actually just going to be like one thing. Just have one key in it, which will be the file. So what I want to say there is when we get that, I want to I guess really, so yeah, everything I'm doing in here, I don't need, I need to do all of this, I think, in this switch, I think, because the only thing that's special is like when we're inside of a token and we're not, so that thing I had before, and we're not getting the exit character, we're not closing the token, then you just keep adding things to the token. And that's it. So like we don't want to do like anything fancy. And the same with the escape, it is just that one special case. Here we just don't care about any of this stuff. You'll already, like, if we're in a token, we're not ever going to get to here, which is good. So like any white space, tabs, or returns, new lines, any of that's fine. But if we get a double quote, we do need to do a little bit of special stuff. We'll say if we are in token and have key, then what we're going to do is special, and then we'll say else if we're just in a token, then we'll do another thing, and realistically, and then the final one would just be the final thing. So we would just set in token to true, and then break. So that's the end of that. So that's if we see one and we're not in a token, basically we break. If we're in a token but we don't have a key, then we're just going to do this piece where we just shove the token in to our stack. And what we're going to do also is we'll say have key is true. So then the next token we read, we'll know that we have a key, and so we can just shove that in as a value. And then we'll say if we're in a token, we're finishing a token and we have a key, then we'll do we actually can't. Well, no, we don't need to do that. So we'll just say we want to say scope insert. We're going to insert our most recent token. So tokens dot pop back. This is like the C standard one. I like to just use the Qt one. Take last. So we'll take the last token as our key, and then the current token will be our value. And then all we got to do is token.clear because we used it. So there's a little bit of clearing. So that should get us, we got a token as a key, and then we got the other part, and we shove it in. And then what we'll say is in token is false, and have key is false, to take those flags away. So that is our token handling, and this if statement can go away. Handle start end of token key. I hate how this is like wanting to indent this too much, but it doesn't care if I put it there. So I don't know what's format or setting that's doing that. What else? So we want to say the only other characters that are kind of special that I care about handling, we're also going to have a case for the open curly brackets and for the closing curly brackets. And then the default is just going to break, I think. I don't think it needs to do anything. It doesn't even do that because we're handling like grabbing all the stuff that's in a token. This I just have because, I don't know, we're just going to break. Just so that we have a statement in there. And I like to just be a little verbose and add the things in there just so I don't accidentally do the classic add a line, not thinking like add a debug line or something, and then all of a sudden my case isn't breaking because it's confused. So do that. We just skip those things. Which realistically, because everything is that I can actually just take these away. We'll default the break because we're only handling special handling for starting or ending a token or starting or ending a scope. So when we get a new scope, basically what I want to do is take the last token we have I think what I was doing here is I actually had these like errors, and so I was like, just yeah, okay, yeah, I was just returning early just to get those errors out and just break completely out of everything, right? Break out of my switch, break out of my for loop. Like everything is broken if we get weird stuff, which I kind of need to handle here. So if we're in a token and have a key, the only way have key would be set is if we had appended a token. So we can't really get in here and break ourselves. And that's where we're doing that pop, that take last, that pop. So that's the only place I would need to protect. And then it's like, there's no way for me to get in there. I just end up ending the loop if we run out of characters, right? So we'll say here is I want to take, this is the one where it could be weird. So if I get this character incorrectly, right? Like if the very start of the file is this character, I'll need to handle that. So we'll say if tokens is empty, then we're broken because I need a name for the scope. So I kind of have to have something there. Then we'll just say return missing key or nested for scope starting at we'll just say the character we start at, which is I. Bam. And so we'll get right out of there. We don't like that. Can just check and handle that early, right away. We should have a key. Which actually, I don't even need to do this as empty check. I can just say, if not have key, then we're broken. Actually, what I can do is, because I need to handle that anyways, we'll say, if we have a key and we get the open bracket, no, I don't need to. That's too much indentation, so we'll just leave that. So if we don't have a key, that's a special case. We just show ourselves out. So then we do have a key, which means we've put something in the tokens list, so we at least have one token. So what we can do is just take our current scope and shove it onto the stack and start a new scope. Yes. So we'll say stack.append our current scope, and then scope is equal to is just a new variant map. So we'll just kind of shove those around. And so we've got like taken our scope, shoved it into the stack. Our key is just going to stay in the tokens list. And then we're going to add-ons, because what we'll do is we're just going to back out once we get those closers. So really that's all I think I need to handle, which is pretty much what I do here. Oh, and there's special handling here because I'm actually stacking like 3 scopes into one because I didn't want to have like this weird structure that it had in these other files. Basically, I had some guarantees of how the format would be, so I was like, well, I'm just going to handle it specially for now, just to put some values in that wouldn't normally be inside the scope. But because this is more structured, like something like JSON, then I can just do this. So I'll say, yep, we'll shove that in there, and that's done. And then what we want to do, this is where we need to make sure that we have tokens. So when we break an object, we need to be sure that if tokens is not detached, empty, we want to say that we're broken, because we need a key for this. Missing key for scope ending at, which we really shouldn't get to here, but just in case, right? I don't think we should get here, but we might. And then also a special case, if the scope or if the stack is empty, a broken mess too. And so we'll say missing scope to close at %1, and then shove our position in here just so I can have a little bit of a nicer message, so I can kind of look for where my broken shit is. And then we'll say finally, if we know, so we have a token, at least one token, and we have a stack. We have a scope. So what we want to do then is take the last scope from the stack and push it or no, we want to take our current scope. Yes. And we need to push it into the stack. So the stack can be empty. It's not an error. It's just a special handling. It's just a special state. If we don't have a token, that's a broken file, right? So you can imagine that would be if I went and edited this file and I just took that away, then that would be this case we would end up where we've like opened a scope, we went and did stuff. We're in a bad place. We shouldn't get there because of our check here, but just in case. Oh, I need to set this have key. It's a false because what we're doing there now is we don't have a key. Like we're basically saying, okay, yeah, whatever's in the token stack, that's not valuable for you. So don't think about it. Don't think about the tokens. Don't think about them. Not at all. Not even once. So then we can say if the stack is empty, we want to take and put into our output. So what we'll say is our output dot insert whatever the current scope is. Yes, whatever the current scope is plus whatever the last token is. So tokens dot take last in the current scope, and then just fine. And so we'll do that, and then we want to take and set our scope to a new variant map. Just kind of clear it out. Otherwise, we have a stack. So what we want to do is we want to take our stack dot last, the last item in our stack, which we know we have. We want to insert using the last token, which will be our key, which we know we have, we checked. And we push that we push that in, and then instead of making a new scope, because there could be, this will actually handle just fine if we expect there to be, like if they were to have multiple things in here because of this, it just would handle it like it would just, stuff would feed into this next scope and do its own thing. But here we'll say what we want to do is we want to take and set the scope to take take last, please. And so we'll just take the last scope out because we just did it, put it out because now we're back in there. So that could handle like this. So what we'd imagine is we go in here, and I can actually set GUI font, make that a bit bigger. And so what you'd see, right, is we would have, this would be our first token, would be in token, finish the token, and that would be in here. So we'd say, oh, we're in a token, we don't have a key, so we set that we have, so we end up in this one, so we would shove it onto our token stack, mark that we have a key, and then we would read some more, so you get some new lines. We basically just skip those, and then once we see this, then we know here, and we know that we have a key, so we go on, so we append the current scope. Our stack is empty, so we take the scope, and this scope would be the very first scope in our list, our stack. Shove it onto the stack, and make a new scope. This might be... This is fine. This is fine, because what that scope that's going to be on the stack now is this one. Have I gone like a layer too deep somewhere? So, and then we'll have whatever. So we set the key, we don't have a key, so we're expecting a new token, basically. Read this one. That is our key. We do the same segment here. Mark we have a key, push it onto the end of our tokens. And then we have a new object. So this is a new scope. We're climbing into this one. So we set this back here. Read all of these. This gets a value, this gets a value, this gets a value, this gets a value. Bam, these are just handled by our little thing inserting into the current scope. We have 2 scopes in the stack. And then we're going down here, and then we have another scope, right? So this is all nested, and these are getting all values. And then we close this one. So we hit that, close that, and we come back. I feel like that's probably going to be fine. What I want to do though is I don't want a hand of this be reading byte arrays and stuff. What I want to change is this very, very top bit. And what I want to do is I want to say Q string. That's going to be the path to the file. And then we're going to do this. We're going to say if, or we're going to say Q file f is path. And we're going to say if not f dot open Q file read only. Then we're going to we're just going to return an error. So we can't open it. Then we just say, hey, failed to open file. %1. So we just do that, early exit. And then instead of doing this 2 lines here, we're just going to change this to while is in dot is. I wonder if is readable. Let's see. So I could read the whole thing into memory, but why? Why do that when I can just read chunks of it at a time? So we'll say is it maybe at end of file? Something like that. These like text streams and stuff. Yeah, no, these are kind of built for a certain kind of stuff. Those too much. Let's see. Q file device. At end. Yeah, so we want to say if we're at end. While not at end. While we're not at the end of the file, we do our stuff. And this is always going to just be read I guess I don't know what actually that C is being. I think it's just being a Q char, honestly. Not sure. I just want to read one thing. Yeah, I don't like that. So in my other parser, I just do it with the byte array because I'm having to, like, I'm not actually writing it to disk. I'm reading it out of that resource file and then most likely decompressing it in memory. So I'm like reading in a compressed byte stream, running it through zlib to decompress it, and then I've just got that decompressed byte stream, and so I'm just parsing it right away. I'm not writing it anywhere. What I want to do is look at, I want to compare, so we'll say Q byte array. And this one, when I do the index operation, just to get that character. Oh, I'm just getting a char. That's fine. This one actually. Map. I mean, I could make it more complicated and read like a chunk of the file in, parse the chunk, buffer, parse, buffer, parse. That's a bit lame. We'll not worry about the processing. We'll not mess with this. Leave it as it is. Assume we're reading a byte array in. Receiving a byte array, that is. This. Yes. Okay. And then so that should be inserting stuff into there. And so then I can just, what I'm going to do is say Q info. Parsed the output. So you can see what it actually has in there. Because I think I might be doing something wonky with my scopes there. And then I can also, what I'll do is here is I'll say like if stack dot is empty, if our stack isn't empty, then I'll say return leftover stack at EOF. And then we'll just say arg, and we'll just say the stack dot count. So the stuff that's in the stack, we'll say that. We have a very similar error for tokens. If tokens isn't empty, leftover tokens, and we'll just say tokens, and then we'll do one more for if the scope is empty, is not empty, leftover scope at end of file, and we'll just actually print the scope out so have its full. Oh, it doesn't like that. We'll also say the same thing. So just how many keys are in there. So we get a little error messages. And then what I'm going to do is just go into my main. Just so I can just do this really quickly. We're going to include Steam. And then what I'm going to do is just say Steam. Say Q info. Actually, you can say Q warning. Steam parse. I'm going to add to open the file and stuff too. So we'll say Q file. F is going to be, we're just going to give a full path to one of these files. And then we'll say, we'll read it in. So let's grab that real quick. this. Add in my little escapes. And then we're gonna do library PDF, I believe. VDF. Get rid of my extra quote over there. If not, or if f dot open, q file read only. And then we'll parse f dot read all. Just get the whole file. And we'll say data. Pass that in. They can update it. And then we'll say else. Oh, then we want to close the file. And then we'll just also say q warning failed to open f.file name. So I can see that. And so we'll try to parse it. Probably we're going to get an error, I think. Yeah, missing key for scope starting at character 220. 220. I think I have my... I think I've got, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16, 15, 16. 17 is the thing. So yeah, so it's just new lines. 18. Okay, so we can go down to 220. Interesting. So 220 is here. Oh, well, that's probably fine. So missing key for scope starting at 220. So that scope there. What I'm going to do is also say Q warning. And then I'm going to give myself the current tokens. The current, right, what am I doing? I'm done. I always do that. Use the fucking debugger. I'm so dumb. That's what the debugger is for. Down, little puppy. Yep, you got it. We did it. Oh my god. Why does it do this to me? I hate this. Please. Please, I hate it. I hate this. Oh, and actually I do want this to show these escape sequences. Let me step into... What are you doing? Are you trying to step into... Yeah, of course you are, because I asked you to do that. What the fuck is happening? Close. Just get out of here. Just close. Just kill it. This is what I hate developing software on Windows. Because... like... debuggers and stuff are like not as good. Please stop, just close. Why are you doing this to me? Like, do I need to have like add an extra line in here? I know when I was working with some other guys before, they were always like, I would do something like that, and they'd be like, "Oh, you might want to add a like define the string and then return it or something." And this because like because when you go to step through in the debugger, it needs a chance to refresh the scope or whatever. Like, man, shouldn't you know you're here? If you stop here, you can just read the memory. What's wrong with the debugger? Why does it need to stop and then make me step so it can read the shit? And why is this like so frozen? What are you doing? What has happened here? Just kill it. Yes. Everything. Just all of you. All of it die. Jesus. I'll do this kind of little extra piece. We'll say, what was I in? Oh, I was in my Steam file. And then we should have that breakpoint go away. Yeah, that's fine. Because what I'm going to do is put this fucking... Let's just put a QDebug. Uh-oh. I hate that. So we'll say, give me this, run this. Yep, and you hit it, there we go. Maybe it's because it was the return, I don't really know. So we can see that we have our tokens, we don't have any tokens. Our scope, has some stuff. It is behaving very weirdly. What is that? What has happened here? We're processing this file, and we should be here. So you would have expected do I need to maybe start? What is that? What are all these values getting put in here? So I'm clearly doing something weird. So let's just step through, let's stop. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just debug from the beginning, right? So what we'll do is we'll stop there so that we can say, get in here, we've got a quote. That means we're not in the escape. We're not doing the special token handling. We're not in a token. But now that we've seen this, so we're set to being in a token. Why are you there? Scope is still empty. The stack is still empty. Our token is empty, but we are in a token. So we're not in escape sequence. We insert our token, first value of it, go for a while, This is gonna take a second. I wonder if I wish I could like hold there, you know. Go, 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 go. Library folders. Come on. Library folders. And then we should have a quote again. So we should see that we are in a token. We don't have a key. So we take the token, shove it onto our list of tokens, clear it. And so our list of tokens is now library folders. And then we're done. We go back and then we read some new line. Oh shit. That's my problem. Right there. I need to, when we end, like basically, no matter what happens in any of these, I need to toggle in token equal to not in token. So we don't need this. And we can just basically toggle our if we're in a key or not, and then always change if we're in a token. Interesting. Leftover scope at end of file. Let's just add a debug point there, and what we'll do is we'll just run it, and then it'll stop me. I can just play. So what do you have? You don't have any tokens. Oh yes. So I do need to be a little bit more. Yes. So I wasn't like nesting a bit too much. So we have there, actually, let me run that again. I want to just double check. So in our stack, or in our scope, we have library folders, and then we have like, oh, I don't need to look at that. That's my library folders, and then we have 0, which has a bunch of items in it. We have 1, which has a bunch of items in it, and 0 should also have the list of apps, which has a bunch of items in it. Yeah. So we're loading it all in just fine. And look, we don't even got we've got the regular paths without the escapes in it, which is what we want. Which is perfect. I just need to handle. I don't need an external scope variable, which is kind of like if you're not sure how the scope works or like how this variable works. So I can actually take this scope away and have the stack exist. And so what we'll do is we basically just always insert into the last item in the stack. Which does mean we'll have to add a couple more places where we check some stuff, but that's okay. It's perfectly fine. So what we want to do is we want to say stack.last and insert a value into the last thing in our stack. With this, we're just going to append a new scope. this. We're going to insert okay, this is where this one gets the handling. It's a little bit little weirder here. I know how to speak. So we have our output. And we close this, and if we have maybe it's fine to have that. And what I need to be doing actually is just taking my, at the very end, taking my last scope and shoving it in, because that would handle this. You know, I think that's probably exactly what I need to do. Yeah, so we'd leave the scope. I'm gonna leave that. And then basically at the very end, we need to take